Good evening, everyone. My name is Derek Terrell, and I'm the Director of Member Engagement with the Coalition for College. Thank you all for joining us for this very special webinar, Succeeding in College as a First-Generation Student. Just so you all know, we are using Zoom webinar today, and we have the Q&A function enabled. So feel free to ask your questions throughout the presentation, and we'll try to address them during the Q&A portion. Today, we have admissions counselors as well as students from Coalition member schools here to help answer your questions and share their experiences as first-generation students and staff. If this is your first time hearing about or attending a session with the Coalition, I also encourage you to check out some of our other articles and videos, and we'll drop a couple of the links in the chat for you as well. So before we jump in, let me share a little bit of information with you about the Coalition for College and the work that we do. So the amazing people that you see here on the screen right now are a part of more than 170 colleges and universities that make up the Coalition. Each of these schools has a proven commitment to access, affordability, and student success. And together we provide tools to help students, just like you, learn about, prepare for, and apply to college. So we believe that Coalition schools are smart college choices because of the commitment that they all share. As Coalition schools are dedicated to graduating students on time with low or no debt. And this includes students who are the first in their families to attend college and other students who have been excluded and underrepresented in higher education. So even though they're all able to do that, they still have a wide range of student body sizes as well as levels of selectivity, providing you with a lot of great choices and smart college choices for you to explore and apply to. So collectively, Coalition schools outperform the national averages by about 17% when it comes to retention and graduation rates. And these are all really important factors to consider when you're thinking about the college that you want to attend and call home for 4 years. So when you're looking at your college list, be sure to start by exploring the over 170 Coalition schools that are dedicated to making a college education both accessible and affordable. If you haven't heard yet, in August, we launched a new application process with our partners at SCORE. Rather than creating a My Coalition account, students can actually create an account on SCORE to power their college search and application process. You'll be able to search and discover schools, as well as collaborate with your supporters, apply, and then also keep track of your application status and access the portals of schools which you've applied to. We also still provide our easy-to-use application fee waiver, so that is something that you'll be able to use if that applies to you as well. So we'll drop a link in the chat where you can learn more about that as well. And then, as always, the Coalition and its members work to help students learn about, prepare for, and apply to college, as I mentioned. So you can follow us on Instagram to bring that insight and inspiration related to all things college right to your feed. And of course, if you have any questions following the webinar, feel free to reach out to us via email at info@coalitionforcollege.org. And now, without further ado, we're going to have our admissions professionals as well as our students introduce themselves. And I'll ask the admissions folks to share where they're from and how they chose the college that they attended, and also to share if you were a first-generation to college student. And then for the students, share where you're from or where you call home and who or what has been important or helpful to you as a first-generation student. And I would also like to add, I am also a first-generation to college student, so this is a really great and important panel to be on. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Martha to introduce herself.
Hi, everybody. I'm Martha Stolze. I am the Director of Admissions at Beloit College in beautiful Beloit, Wisconsin. I am not a Beloit alum. I actually attended Augustana College in the Quad Cities. And one of the big reasons I picked that college was because I really wanted to do study abroad in Australia. That was one of my big goals when I was looking at colleges, and I did it. That was a big influencer for me. And it's one of the things that I often tell first-gen students to do is to really think about studying abroad opportunities, because I think it is an amazing opportunity to really enhance your college career.
Hi, I'm Daniela. I'm a senior at Beloit. I'm majoring in studio art with a double minor in education and English. And then what else? Kind of why we chose our inspiration. So our mentor. My mentor was someone from the TRIO program here at Beloit. Her name is Maria Scarpesi, and she's really been my mentor for all 4 years, and like both academically, socially, and just a great person overall.
I'll hand it over to Ashley. Yeah.
Hello, everyone. My name's Ashley Hardy, and I am the Assistant Vice President for Admission and Dean of Admission at DePauw University, which we're located in Greencastle, Indiana. And I am not an alum of DePauw. I attended the University of Notre Dame, and I am a first generation or was a first generation college student. And some factors that were important to my college decision were location. I really wanted to stay in state and be close to home, but also far enough away to where my mom could not come to campus every weekend.
Hi, everyone. My name is Leon Lapp. I'm an assistant director for recruitment at the University of Buffalo. Much like my predecessors here tonight, I am not an alum of UB, although one of my 6 siblings is, including our honors college. I attended Syracuse University as a first generation college student, eldest of 7 children, came from a rural background. So I was really looking for a place that was more urban centric as a campus, that had diversity, much more than what I knew to that point in life. But I will say, quite frankly, for me, it did come down, much like Ashley, to an in-state consideration to maximize financial aid eligibility and proximity in terms of cost, but then also transfer credit from high school. So I had quite a bit, in fact, 39 credits I took to college, which saved me a whole year off of a double major. And so that transfer credit friendliness was an important piece for me.
And buenas tardes, buenas noches, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're joining us tonight. My name is Alejandra McFern. I'm an assistant director of admissions for the University of Delaware. And I am not a UD alumna. However, I keep telling them they need to make me an honorary Blue Hen since I've been working there for 10 years now. I am a first generation college student. I actually attended Bethany College, which is a very, very small college in West Virginia. And part of my reasons for selecting Bethany was a lot of it was family. A lot of it was money. My dad was sick at the time. And, you know, if you are joining us or even, I don't know, maybe you're not Hispanic or Latino, but those families were like this. And so it's very hard for us to kind of, you know, venture out. So my dad was sick at the time, and just how close we were, I knew that I wanted to stay somewhere close enough to where I wouldn't necessarily have to fly or have to spend the whole day driving. Then also I knew that we didn't have the funds necessary, you know, to send me to a super uber expensive school. And if that were the case, then I needed money. So I definitely, that became a factor. I look forward to speaking with you guys today a little bit more. Thank you once again for joining us.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sean Carr. I am currently the Associate Director of Admissions at University of Laverne, located 30 miles east from Los Angeles, California. I am not an alum of University of Laverne. I actually attended Coppin State University, which is located in Baltimore, Maryland. I'm originally from Camden, New Jersey. So for me, I chose Coppin because I wanted to attend school out of state. Coppin State University is a historically Black college and university, so I wanted that HBCU experience. And you know, when I visited campus and experienced the admissions process, I just felt like there were staff and faculty there who were going to support me, embrace my strengths and weaknesses. And you know, in a nutshell, I felt like I had a family there on campus. So their main goal was to make sure I graduated, and their mission was complete. So.
Okay, hi everyone. My name is Nicolette Davis. I actually attend the University of Verne. I'm a junior now. I'm also an ambassador for the University of Verne for the undergraduate admissions. So I do get to see, like, you know, and help everyone in regards to like the admission process in the same way that I was able to go through this process. An inspiration for me on going to Laverne. So my senior year, my mom passed away from cancer. So it's kind of hard for me to figure out where if I wanted to go out of state. And that was my biggest thing. I did want to go out of state, but I'm originally from San Diego, California. And I decided to stay in state just to, you know, have that connection with my family still, you know, after her untimely passing, so that I can have all the love and support around me. And then also I chose Laverne because when I first walked on campus, I had never been on this campus. I knew nothing of the school or anything like that. And I met people like Sean and also a lot of the other ambassadors and everything like that. And they knew my name right off the bat. And I thought that was super cool because I felt like, you know, they were going to support me no matter what. And that's what they're doing. So, yeah.
Awesome. Thank you all so much for the introductions. And with that, we're going to go ahead and go into some of the questions. As I mentioned earlier, the Q&A function is enabled. So if you have any questions that you want to ask these folks, feel free to go ahead and type it into the Q&A and we can ask that. But we do have some questions that were submitted with the registration. So we're going to go ahead and start with some of those. So the first question I have is for Daniela. So how would you say being a first-generation student impacted your college choice and the criteria you looked for in a college? And for a student, what should they be looking for?
Yeah, so I think there's a lot of intersections with like looking at schools. So I looked for schools that had some sort of official set program for first-generation students, but also a school that had good programming for students of color. So I'm a Latina, so I was looking for schools that had like set organizations, special interest housings that were based on identity-based groups, but also financial aid. You know, education is an investment, so I was willing to put some money into it, but obviously I don't want to be doing like 20K in loans each year. So kind of juggling all of that, and then just being able to have a small class size just so I could feel at home. If I do have questions, I don't feel like a burden, and I could actually like speak out and have professors who are willing to reach out if I'm not maybe reaching out or don't know how to reach out.
So I'm actually going to throw this question over to the admissions folks. So since you all have been in this field for a while, some of you all were first-generation college student yourselves, is there anything that some of these students should be looking for that they don't even know they should be looking for?
I think for me, I would just say like some of these, like the pre-college summer programs for first-generation students. I've worked at a number of colleges and universities around the country, and many of them offer like additional funds, maybe like free housing. Some private schools will pay like 90% of your tuition and fees just for being like a first-generation student. So definitely just take a deeper dive in doing research to see what type of financial opportunities they have for first-generation students.
And also, like, I'd like to add that that is a great opportunity too for students to maybe, you know, scope out colleges and universities. What better way than a pre-college program where you can be on campus, you could be interacting with maybe current students who might be mentors in the program, or faculty, you know, if you're taking like certain classes, or just getting like the vibe of the campus, right? And can you see yourself on that college campus? So those pre-college programs are going to come in key, especially as a first-generation college student. You want to get yourself exposed to as many college campuses as possible and talk to as many people as possible as well, so that they can share their experience with that particular institution, what they like about it, what they don't like about it, because that's important too, right? To ask those questions. But yeah, scope out those pre-college programs, because they'll come in handy later on when you're making that final decision and you have all these options. You know, you can revert back to your experiences.
Thank you. The next question I'm going to ask to Martha, and then obviously anyone else feel free to jump in as well. But as a first-generation student, who were your mentors and who are your mentors now?
So I was really lucky as a first-generation student in that I did have two older sisters who went to college before I did. So they really kind of laid a nice path for me, especially with my parents when it came to daughters moving a little bit further away from home. So that was really nice. And I was very fortunate in that, you know, I had people in my family that I could ask some of those questions. But I was also very lucky right away as a first-year student to have a faculty member in my major really kind of take me under her wing and be a great mentor to me, and really start modeling some professional behavior for me and giving me some just thoughts and ideas on where to do internships that it had never even crossed my mind before. So that really helped me a lot. And I will say that I continue to have mentors now. I have been in this profession for over 30 years, and I still turn to colleagues, both at my own college and at other colleges. So really having a professional network of peers starts when you're in college, and it really never ends.
So thank you, Martha. Leon, who has helped you the most to be successful throughout high school, or who helped you the most to be successful throughout high school and then into college? And then also would love to hear from our students as well.
Sure. I mean, in thinking back, and I think it's important to take a moment here and note that things were very different when we as representatives were going off to college as a first generation student. There were far less resources, programs, summer programs. Much of what I did alone. I am the eldest of 7 and a first generation college graduate. And I was especially burdened with the task of figuring out what I didn't know. And some of the people that came in clutch for me in high school were those people who kind of go under the radar a little bit. And that would be the high school librarians. I came from humble beginnings, and we had a big family, and we didn't have a home computer at that time in the 90s, where many families did. So my librarians were kind enough to allow me to stay even past hours that it was open. And they had both gone to college and master's degrees in library sciences and could tell me about institutions that I might want to look at for this area of study or that, where my parents simply couldn't. Didn't have the time, didn't have the resources, didn't have that personalized experience throughout. And then I want to be super frank and say that I had to work extensively throughout college to pay my own way. So I am a self-funded first-gen graduate as well, proudly. But it wasn't so proud at that time, right? It was a grind. I had 3 jobs throughout college at once. And sometimes more, sometimes less. I worked summers on the farm I grew up on to save up for the next year. So the people who became mentors within my college experience were my bosses. I was nominated for over a 4-year span in recreation services, my boss, who I really called my SU dad because I went to Syracuse University, so SU. And then as a graduate student, I met my SU mom, and I worked in the Office of Financial Aid and Scholarships to fund over 60% of my graduate degree through a graduate assistantship. And so those people understood where I was coming from, because socioculturally, I was a man apart from many of my peers. I went to a place where many people do not worry about the cost of college or the ancillary costs, and I was constantly worried about those things. And so as a result, it made me stronger, and I simply could not have ever done it without those mentors. And I think we have let's say a societal influence on, this idea of pulling oneself up by the bootstraps, but no one does anything alone, no matter how many billions they become worth or how many companies they found or how much research ground they break. It really does take other people to help along the way. And those were the people that helped me the most.
Awesome. Thank you, Leon. What about Nicolette or Daniela?
For me, like throughout high school, my freshman year to my junior year, my mom was alive. So my mom was like a big push. She put me in as many programs as she possibly could find for me. Community programs. I was actually in a first-gen scholars program back in San Diego, where he helped us. Basically, we had workshops where we were able to work on our essays for colleges. So he would tell us to choose 3 prompts. We would write out a rough draft and he would help us edit them. But a lot of people were like, I don't know why you're in the program and everything. It takes so much time, because I would spend my weekends there, like literally Saturdays and Sundays, probably 5 hours a week. Just working with him, trying to make sure that I'm like progressing properly in my application process and everything. Because me personally, in high school, I was a COVID high schooler. So I had to go through COVID. My junior year and my senior year were online. And then especially it was kind of hard. It was really hard my senior year when my mom passed, because my first day of senior year was the day of her funeral. So I did miss out on a lot because I took a break from school just to get my mind right. But my vice principal was somebody that really helped me a lot. Like, she always made sure she was able to get my homework and stuff for me. I would go to the school some days, like maybe 2 or 3 days a week. And I would just sit in her office, not really wanting to be a part of the class or anything like that. But she would talk to my teachers for me, have my teachers help me out. She did know that I was emancipated at the time, so I was basically doing everything on my own. And she was putting me in connections with a lot of people that would basically help and benefit me no matter what I was going through. Like finding schools and applying to schools, because in my mind, I didn't think that I was going to go to college. I didn't see that at all. Like my entire family knows my thing. I was going to go to the Air Force, and literally the day that I got accepted to the University of Laverne, I was supposed to take my ASVAB test, and I did not go because I was like, this is a school that I want to go to. You know, I'm going, basically that's it. I'm not going to lie. University of Laverne was not my top school. It was not my top school at all. It wasn't even a part of my top 3. But when I saw how connected they were to me and how they wanted to benefit me, and they also did help me out financially a lot, for the simple fact, like I said, I was doing everything on my own. I kind of put all the other schools in the back of my mind. I did get into my top school, which was Texas Southern, but I did not go for the simple fact that the financial aid wasn't given right then and there. And I also was very big on, I wanted to go to a HBCU. That's all I wanted to do. But then I was talking to like all my friends and everything, and they actually were going to HBCUs. And I was talking to them, and I just told them, in all honesty, it's a competition at HBCUs because you all look the same. So it's like one's trying to do better than the other. So I would say my friends did have a big help on me making a decision to my school, because going here at a PWI, it's like you kind of have to force yourself a little bit to make more connections with people. And I'm glad that I'm actually going here, because I used to be super shy and an introvert. So it actually pushed me out of my comfort zone a little bit. And I made a lot of connections. Hence, now I'm working as an admissions ambassador to, you know, help other students like that. So, yeah.
Thank you, Nicolette. Did you want to add anything, Daniela? Who are some of your mentors in high school and then now?
Yeah, sure. So in high school, it was my math and science teacher, Mr. Kamisi Cabbage. He was just a really great support. So I also kind of never really liked to being at lunch. So whenever to be lunch, I'd go up to like his classroom, do work, we'd like have conversations. Obviously, he was my math and science teacher, but even like when it came to essays, like I really was like, I trusted him in a lot, especially as, you know, sometimes you write about really personal things in your like personal statements and stuff. Like he was one of the people who I really like put my trust in to like look over my applications for my letters of recommendations, and just even like having conversations about like, oh, hey, these are like some colleges I'm looking at. Can you like, you know, give me your opinions about them? Just because my high school counselors weren't, I guess I didn't get as close to them, or they, I guess because, you know, you're in a public school and they have a lot of people to work with. So he was really helpful in that aspect. And then in college, as I mentioned, I think earlier, Maria Scarpesi from the TRIO program at Beloit. She's just been a really great mentor, whether that's me venting about like, oh, this is like my financial situation now. Like, what am I doing? I'm panicking. Just like, you know, casual things, like we text each other on a like casual basis. So sometimes she'll be like, oh, you know, I read about you all like on the college website. I'm really like glad to hear it. So it's, you know, it's really nice how you build those familiar bonds, even with like people who, you know, I guess, yeah, you know, it's just, yeah. So it's just really nice having that support network.
Thanks so much. So you had actually mentioned writing about yourself in the personal essay in your personal statement. So I actually want to ask this next question to Ashley. Somebody submitted this question before, and they wanted to know, how can I highlight my struggles being a first generation student in my applications while also trying to stand out, but also not wanting colleges to feel sorry for me?
Yeah, so there are a variety of different ways that you can do that. The first way that comes to mind is through the college essay. So if your school requires an essay, some schools will have topics that you can write about, but a lot of schools will have open-ended topics where you can write about your experience. But with that, I would just say be authentic. And if you decide to share that experience, don't share it just because you think it's what the college wants to hear. Share that experience because it's something that you actually want to share. And then I would also say with the college essay, it's not like we want to, as college admission officers, we want to get to know you and hear your story. But at the same time, we want to make sure that you're comfortable in sharing that. And for me, a lot of times, how your essay is written is just as important as what you're saying. So I would say just make sure that you're having other people review your essay, take a step back and make sure that any audience could understand it. I would say that's one of the biggest pitfalls that I sometimes see is students will write their essays, and if I'm doing a college workshop, I'm like, hey, I understand that, but everyone won't understand that term or that topic. So just make sure that if you do want to share that story, that you're being authentic and you're sharing it because you want to. I can tell you as a college admissions officer, we want you to be comfortable, but just make sure that your essay is well written. And then a lot of colleges, we will actually have places on the application where you can indicate that you're a first generation college student. And when you do that, then that triggers for us to start sending you more information about our resources that we do offer to first generation college students.
Awesome. Thank you, Ashley. The next question that I had actually is in the Q&A. So I know, Sean, you had mentioned people should look into maybe some pre-college programs. So not everybody will be able to see, but just by a show of hands, which of the schools on the call right now have a pre-college program? Okay, so DePauw has a pre-college program. University at Buffalo has a pre-college program, and then University of Delaware. Do you all mind sharing who would be best suited to attend one of those pre-college programs? And I'll let Ashley start, and then we'll go to Alejandra and then to Leon.
Yeah, so for our pre-college programs, they're designed for students to really get a feel of what the liberal arts at DePauw are. So they're academic based to where students are, we have faculty who are teaching classes that students can attend, and students are staying overnight in one of our residence halls, and they're open to everyone. And with pre-college programs, one of the biggest pieces of advice I will give is to talk to your high school counselors, because a lot of us will send our pre-college program information to high schools, and they'll keep a list.
And so what we actually have on our website, which is udel.edu, we do have a whole page dedicated to pre-college programs. So our pre-college programs go anywhere from, engineering. We have, of course, your Upward Bound. We have the Diamond Challenge. We also have a program called EDGE, and that's the EDGE Summer Program. A program like that, for us anyways, it's for a student who perhaps is already taking, regardless of first gen status or not, but it's for a student who has already been challenging themselves in high school, whether it's honors classes, AP classes, and you want to take this next step into being on a college campus, taking college classes. And so again, this is an opportunity for students to be on campus, to get to experience, what it's like to be on a college campus, taking classes. We do have mentors also. And these mentors, we vet them, they apply, they are highly trained, but then also you're doing fun things. So yes, in the daytime, you are doing class stuff, just like any college student. And then in the evenings, we provide some, constructive opportunities, what we like to call it. On the weekends, we've taken our EDGE students to New York City. We're about 2.5 hours from New York City, or to Baltimore, which is like an hour. So we're really trying to mimic as much as possible what a college student goes through. So do you work hard? Absolutely. But do you still have time to have fun, interact with your peers? That as well. So that's one of, I think, a highlighted maybe program is our Edge Summer Scholars Program.
Yeah, and then just to round things out, like Delaware, we have a variety of different ways to connect while still in high school. Notably, we have a summer pharmacy overnight program for students interested in that. We've got our EOP program for New York State residents, so a summer bridge program. And then as students onboard that are first generation, there's a freshman peer mentoring program available as well. Then there's advanced college credit programs locally and other summer programming through community-based organizations. So I think the point is, particularly with large public institutions, for sure, there's a number of ways to connect at the high school level with the college. Maybe it's just a couple of nights, maybe it's a longer program like Edge at Delaware, but nonetheless, there are opportunities to start interfacing with colleges early on in high school, not just as a rising senior. So for the group of people here in attendance tonight, it's never too early to start looking around at what might be available, to start getting impressions of college. That's really what those programs are all about, so that you know more about what's out there and you can keep an open mind and find out about more and more opportunities as you go along.
Awesome. Thank you all. The next question that I have is for Alejandra. I know that your families were proud of you when you were accepted to college or university. How has this impacted you and your family? And has the pressure of being the first in your family ever become a stress or burden that you had to carry? And I'll start that with Alejandra, but would love to open that to our current students as well.
And oh my goodness, is this like a loaded question? Because, I mean, I think that this, like me being the first in my family to graduate from college, is going to impact more so future generations, right? My parents, I am a first generation, I'm gonna say Mexican American, because I was born in Mexico. My parents were born in Mexico, but I can't deny the American side because I was raised in the United States pretty much for my whole life. So I think that, me going to college is going to impact future generations. I think that so much pressure, though, is put on or was put on myself. We come from a large family, not my immediate family, but lots of cousins, younger cousins especially. So it was always like, oh, look at Honey. And they call me Honey. Look at Honey. You want to strive to be like her. You want to do, And so, yeah, it was a lot of pressure, not only obviously to graduate, but like to do well on every semester. And it was very stressful. There were lots of, all-nighters maybe, and always in the back of my mind, it was like, you have all these people depending on you. Looking back at it now, I almost don't think it was fair. Because I think that what my family didn't see, what those aunts, uncles, cousins didn't see, is just how much stress a first generation like I was going through, just having to figuring out how to navigate things. It wasn't just studying. It wasn't just going to class. It was also just figuring it out, like, how am I going to pay the next semester, right? And going to semester. And so to having that added extra stress on, looking back, I don't think it was fair. However, we made it through, right? By the grace of God and all the help and, with everybody and family members and mentors, we made it through. I would also say just one last little piece. I know that, and if we have any parents on, I think that's something that I saw within my own family, is that I had some of my aunts comparing me or comparing their child to me. So I would say, if you are a parent, every student, every person is an individual, right? And every student is going to go through their own path and their own way of going through the college process and going through college. I know that there is one cousin that to this day, she doesn't talk to me, because of that comparison. And there's another cousin that, I talked to, and she said, what, my mom did that, but that made me really, want to do everything that I could to then also go to college. Now she has a master's. So I think also for first generation college students, it's all in the mindset. I want to leave you with that. It's all in the mindset. And is it going to be hard? Yes. Are you going to feel the pressure? Yes. but you just have to take it one step at a time and know that, as everybody has said here, it takes a village and you can't do this by yourself, and you will get through it. You will. You just got to put one foot in front of the next, take it one day at a time.
Yeah, I was going to say for our current students, so I definitely, we heard that there is probably some additional stress is put on, but where are you finding the support at your institutions? Who or where are you turning to for that support? I mean, you're a junior and a senior, right? Junior and senior. So you all are so close. So who is it, and where are you turning to continue pushing forward? And I'll let Nicolette go first, and then we'll hand it over to Daniela.
For me, I found like a supportive friend group on campus that's also like pushing me, but I also have my friends from like back home that are at different schools. We kind of always say that we're always in this together. Like if one quits, then that means that we all quit. So like, why would you want to do that? Because that makes it look like we're all quitting. But also my family, I'm the youngest grandchild. But my cousin started a new generation. So my little cousin is actually like my biggest inspiration. I joke with my older cousin and tell her that she always had her for me, because I always have her, but I just want to show her like, look, you are the first of a new generation, but I'm the youngest and I'm the last one of another generation. But I want to show that, she could do it too. Like, no matter what we've been through and what our family goes through and everything like that, don't just let me be the only one. Like, you can do it too. She's only 2, so she doesn't understand it, but I always make sure to like kind of like tell her that, because I don't want her to feel like she can never do anything. Like me personally, I've been through a lot, and I could have given up so many different times, but I've had my friends, I've had my family, I've had mentors, I've had just co-workers, like everybody just be around me and support me 24/7 and giving me like abundance of words and abundance of love that makes me want to push through and keep going. And I want to actually keep going. I don't want to just keep telling her this. I want to keep going and actually show her like I finished it, your cousin finished it, and that we can continue to do this. My goddad is actually one of the biggest ones. When I first came into college, so I did come in with extra credits from high school, so transfer credits. So I'm actually supposed to be class of 25, but I'm class of 24. My goddad decided to go back to school with me. So it's kind of like we have like a little deal going on. He was like, look, I'll go back to school. Everybody called me Bad Butt. It's very strange, but everybody was like, Bad Butt, hey, if I go to school with you, you gonna stay in it. And that's how we see it. So that's like, I call him like every single day, and I'm like, hey, look, goddad, like, okay, I have this going on with school, this going on. And it's like, it's easier because I have somebody that is not somebody new that I've never met before, but somebody that's always been in my corner to help me and to support me, as well as they're going through the same thing with me.
Yeah, I would say similar. I feel like both in Beloit and then outside of Beloit, like I think I have a pretty good support network. I think a lot of like Beloit really does help you build all these connections, whether it's like I've mentioned my mentors or even like the people who work at the dining halls. So there's a few workers who, I always greet whenever I go get breakfast. We'll talk in Spanish, and they're like, oh, how are classes going? And I'm like, oh, they're good. And then like even when like I'm having a rough time, like, yeah, I just had some trouble waking up today. And they're like, like it happens. Or like if I have like, oh, I'm having this trouble with this professor, and they're like, oh yeah, we've heard about this professor. Or like, oh, I like, I'm excited for this class. And they're like, oh yeah. So like things like that, whether it's like a support group, whether it's someone who you've like vent your whole heart out to, just people who are like, hey, I've seen you around, you got this. It's pretty much like the whole campus. And then also family. So it's really just nice to have that tight-knit community that can support you in like little ways, but also in big ways.
Awesome. Thank you all so much. So I wanted to actually ask the university and admissions folks. So maybe if you all could share some of the supports that you all have specifically for first generation college students. And I'm going to throw that out and let anybody unmute to go first.
We have a first generation college student group on campus that serves as just kind of a community of students. There are also resources within student affairs. One of the biggest things that we see with first generation students is there's a lot of terminology and just words thrown out that people don't know. So our student affairs has really taken all of our programming and really examined it and tried to break it down. So like, what is a registrar's office and why do students need to understand what that is? Where are your resources on campus? If something happens and you need to travel back home and you don't have money to do that, who do you go to on campus? How do you get travel assistance? I would say that's another thing, travel assistance to campus is really big, but we also have a Center for Diversity and Inclusion, and they also house a lot of our resources on campus. So I would say our biggest things are just creating communities for students, funding, and then also just breaking down college and making sure that our first generation students are on an even playing field when it comes to understanding college.
Yeah, at University of Buffalo, I think we kind of mirror that at DePauw, where we have a formalized program for incoming freshman students, which is a peer-to-peer mentor group, relatively new in scope, but has taken off like a rocket in terms of its effectiveness and the synergy that those students have created with one another. I think, though, it's also built in as a large public university. We have a really good mix of students who live on campus, students who live off campus, and then students who commute. So right down to, say, our 11 libraries, there are loaner laptops, expensive camera and other equipment that students can take out. Right down to personalized attention from financial aid. Probably fun fact, many students don't know, you can take out extra financial aid one time in a 4-year degree for a computer. So maybe that's going into school, or maybe something disaster strikes and you need one, but in the
like I worked, I think 2 or 3 jobs on campus for like most of my journey. So after freshman year, I was pretty much paying that gap. I've also been an RA for 2 years, so that has paid for all of my room costs. So like I don't have to, like they don't pay me, but they cover my room costs, and then would also do like 400 of my meal plan. So then everything else I would pay out of pocket, which wouldn't be too much, like, because that was most of the chunk of it.
For me, it was really my scholarship. My scholarship is broken down. My overall scholarship for the university, and then we also get like subdivision scholarships. So you can get a scholarship really from anybody on campus, and you would never know it. Like we have private donor scholarships because we're a private school, which usually they have like a executive ball that you have to go to understand like how much money you would receive, and like write a thank you note to your private donor. I also did apply to multiple like outside scholarships. A lot of people don't realize it, but like your favorite social media influencers or anything like that, they can also be a help. I did receive it's a scholarship called the You Matter Scholarship. So it's this guy named Demetrius Harmon, and he basically is a mental health motivator. And he had a scholarship where it was going for 25,000 and below. I was able to get 10,000 off of that. So that was a big help. And then I also did apply to like community scholarships through like people through my church, my high school. And then also I am a military brat from my dad. So the VA is a big help on paying the remainder of my housing here at school.
Thank you all. Those are really good tips and advice. And I'm like, man, I wish I talked to you, Nicolette, when I was in school, because I was like, wow, those are great options. Awesome. So a question that I have for the admissions folks that was submitted was, do you have any advice for students who will be first generation college students who may also be undocumented students? And I'll go ahead. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I would just say, for us, our policy is that it's very important for students to disclose that to us, just because that is the only way that we might be able to help. I know that even still our financial aid office would still want students to complete, the FAFSA, the free application for federal student aid, because in this way too, we're able to see, if the family can also perhaps maybe contribute to that college education. So our policy is that, unless a student discloses to us, we're not going to know that they need that additional support.
I would just add, don't cross schools off your list out of a fear of how much it's going to cost. There are often extra scholarships and sometimes private loan options for undocumented students. And so I think that just my biggest piece of advice is don't let the fear of the sticker price keep you from pursuing kind of your dream school. And as Alejandra said, don't be afraid to disclose that information, because oftentimes there is extra help for those students available.
Thanks so much, Martha. Leon, one question that I have for you. So aside from the coalition, what are some other organizations or resources that first generation students can turn to for support with applying to college?
Sure, and I think we've touched on some of them. So just as a reminder, there are those pre-college programs, advanced college credit programs, be it more locally and campus-based or a virtual space. Those are all ways to sort of eventually receive support from those experiences, because it's that open-mindedness as a first-gen student, trying to figure out as much as you can, as early as you can in the process of what the world of college looks like from different angles. Beyond that, I think it's important to note that if as a first-gen student, it's better for you to transfer into a university, certainly as a large public university and a coalition school, we're a transfer credit friendly institution. So whether that's AP, IB, or college credits within the high school sphere, or if that means a community college stint up to an associate's degree and right on through, and then a transfer, a third of our College of Engineering, our top ranked school, are internal or external transfers. The average GPA for transferring into our top ranked nursing program is the same as whether you came from high school. And oftentimes, and this is something that's a kind of a widely kept secret, the admissions sled into very competitive universities, very, very competitive programs, combined degree programs, can be a little bit easier through a transfer credit route, academically speaking, than directly out of high school, because there are far less transfer students over the last decade across the country. And that simply means that more students should be removing the stigma around the transfer option and not just looking at it as something to accumulate as many credits in high school, like I once did before it was such a formal regiment across the board, but also for that 2-year stint. And I have 2 siblings who've directly benefited from that route. Did they choose it right out of high school on purpose? No. And that's often the case with transfer credit. So one, if you're thinking that route, I would say to proudly pursue it alongside 4-year options and really not rule anything out until everything shakes out in the end, and recommend organizations like the Jack Kent Cooke Foundation specifically out there for transfer students. Oftentimes those are first generation students who simply had to, for one reason or another, stay closer to home, commute, do an associate's degree, and then transfer. And we at University at Buffalo, along with the rest of the SUNY system, will welcome those students with open arms, just like we will freshman applicants from high schools across the country and the world.
Awesome. Thanks so much. So we only have a few minutes left, and I really want to, I guess, leave some time for each of you all to kind of give your last words of advice for students and for families who are the first, or students who are the first in their families to go to college, or words of advice for the families and the supporters of those students. So I'm going to let Nicolette and then Daniela, and then we're going to go backwards from how we did our introduction. So it'll go Sean, Alejandra, Leon, Ashley, and then Martha. So any piece of advice that you have, you can direct it towards the students, or you can direct it towards family supporters So yeah, we'll go ahead and let Nicolette kick it off.
My advice is basically network on campus, no matter what. That's something big. You don't know who you may impact or who may impact you. Me personally, while working as an ambassador, I can say that I love my job because I've made more connections. Like I said, my freshman year last year was very hard for me. Transitioning from a different city that's 2.5 hours away from home and everything like that, it's going to be a lot, and you have a lot on you, especially with the pressure of, like, okay, I'm the first one going to college. I need to make sure I succeed. And that's like your only thing that you want to do. But me working as an ambassador, I've made more connections with a lot of incoming students and a lot of the students that are here now on campus. And basically, like, I see them around campus and they're like, oh my gosh, everything that you said on your tour was everything that's actually going on, and it's helped because I've even met like some of their parents and stuff like that have put me into different positions where, when my major being psychology, they can help me be in different programs during the summertime. I actually did meet this student and his mom, and the mom actually works as a social worker. That's something that I want to do, and she has me doing an internship this summer with her. So that right there is like a prime example of just, step out your comfort zone, network with people, talk to anybody and everybody. It may seem like tedious and it may seem annoying and you don't want to go up to them, but do it, because you never know what may come out of it if you don't take that chance.
Yeah, for me, I think there's a lot of, I guess, kind of intimidation when you're like, oh, college, like professors, like they've gone through all this much schooling and like they know so much more than I do. But like professors are humans too. So definitely don't be scared to ask questions. Don't be scared to be friendly with them. Like, I babysit kids for some of my professors. I crack jokes with them. If they're having a bad day or if I'm having a bad day, I give them hugs. Like, they're people too. They're here to see you succeed. And they just are here to care about your well-being while they're outside of the classroom as well. So don't be scared to talk to your professors.
Yeah, I would just say, just don't accept no as an answer, and just continue to utilize your resources. I mean, there's going to be a lot of assistance on college campuses for you, whether that's, assistance in, academics with your classes. You might have a weakness in a class, but, someone in that class, it might be a strength for them, and you might just need to, just come out of your shell and just ask for help, ask for support, even with the finances and paying for tuition. Don't let these colleges and universities tell you they don't have the money. The money is somewhere. I worked at a number of schools where some departments just had, a boatload of money just left over that they didn't use, and that could have been used for someone with assistance with paying tuition. So just always continue to ask questions, go around to different, like departments. If you need support with tuition, make sure you ask multiple people. Somebody's going to point you in the right direction. If you want to study abroad and you can't afford it, ask for assistance. Somebody will help you raise money. Somebody will help you find those resources. So just don't take no for an answer. Just utilize all your resources.
And in addition to that, let's just pause for a second and give yourself credit. I mean, whether, you're a freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, you've made it this far now, right? And when you get to college, also, give yourself some grace, right? There are going to be mistakes made. There's going to be obstacles, but you're only human and you can only take so much, right? But you just got to still keep persevering and just remember that you belong. I think that for me as a first gen, I almost felt out of place, maybe like at times when I didn't belong, but trust that you belong. You've earned your way, into whatever college or university that you end up, and be proud. I think that, and things might have changed since I was in college, but I don't remember being in college and feeling proud of being first gen. Now looking back at it, now I can say I have a lot to be proud for, because not knowing really what I was doing, kind of doing it on my own, and I did it, right? So be proud, and even now, today, be proud of being first gen, and keep moving forward, because forward's the only way to go.
I think I could share any of these tips that everyone said so far there. I would echo all of them. My piece of advice is during the high school years to never be the one to tell yourself no. So somewhat similar to what Sean is saying, but you can start to rule things out. Oh, I can't go to a private school. Oh, I can't get into an Ivy League. I can't get a fully funded, tuition ride to my dream school. Do not be the person that tells yourself no. Let a college or another scholarship board or another entity outside of you say no, and then walk forward with a bigger chip on your shoulder to get the next one. Also, during the high school years, to keep an extremely broad-minded, open-minded, sponge-like approach until it comes to decision-making time, May 1st of senior year, with the commitment deadline. Before that, don't rule things out unless you definitively, intuitively know that that's what you don't want, right? And you'll only know that if you go on these types of experiences. So kudos to everyone. We're finishing with near about the same people we started with. And I think the best bits are here at the end. And I would say in college, as a first generation student, as someone who performed very well at that level, you need to be engaged. You're paying to be there, and you feel that payment maybe more than the rest. And that means you should be as plugged in as you can be plugged in, right? Like a phone charger in a house with 8 people, you should be plugged in all the time and doing things and experiencing things and trying new things. And even if you've never heard of it before, going out and giving it a try, because that's how you find out where your real path lies. Truth be told, when you leave for college, you have very little idea where you're headed. But hopefully you're making an informed decision along the way.
And I'll just wrap up by saying to the parents, guardians, other families or supporters of the first gen students, it might be hard. You might feel like you don't have the answers that you want to give, and it might feel scary sending your child off into kind of an unknown. But you are doing enough by letting them know that you're in their corner and you support them and you love them, even if maybe the choice that they're making isn't the choice that you would hope for them. But knowing that they've got that person cheering them on is really important.
And then I think maybe Ashley, yeah.
Yes, and I would add in, when I think back about my college experience, the people that saved me the most money while I was in college were upperclassmen who told me about different resources on campus, or who said, hey, you should go to this. They're giving out like free t-shirts, or don't pay for football tickets. Just go ask Sister Mary Beth, like our rectress, for rector funds, and you can get free tickets. So a lot of times those students that have already gone through the process, they have those insider tips and tricks. So definitely talk to upperclassmen, and then talk to admission counselors. That is what we are here for. We are here to guide you through the process. This is our job. So we love answering questions. We love helping out. If you are unsure about something, reach out to our office, and you can always say, hey, I want to talk to faculty, or I want to talk to a student. And it's our job to connect you with those resources. So as admission officers, we are here to help you figure out if our institutions are a good fit for you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for wrapping us up, Ashley. And a huge thank you to our students, Daniela and Nicolette, who are on the call, for sharing your words of wisdom and advice, as well as to all of our admissions professionals here. And then all of the students and participants for asking these great questions. Today is November 8th, which is actually National First Gen College Day. So a big kudos and round of applause to all the first gen students out there. And with that, we're going to call it a night. Thank you all so much, and we'll see you at the next one. See ya.